The opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect the views of the Tampa Bay Arts and Education Network.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Connecting with Kim here on Tampa Bay Arts and Education Network. I'm your host with the mostest, Kim Droege. Totally, I feel like I got to go wow at you guys, right? So we have another great show coming up today, but before we get started, I want to ask you to like and follow our Instagram, Facebook, and X account so you can find out all the information about the show, the guests, all the information about them and their organization or who they are or their passion. And of course, my on-air wardrobe, which is supplied by the Spring of Tampa Bay's boutique, located at 4415 West Osborne now. And I just want to give a shout out to whoever is emptying their closet of all their Michael Kors animal prints, because I have been the recipient of their largesse and I really appreciate it. So go and patronize the boutique and the thrift store, because the net proceeds help support the Spring's mission, which is providing safe spaces and empowering services for survivors of domestic violence and their children. And they've been doing a great job for over 40 years. And so I really appreciate your support. Also, you can catch the audio of Connecting with Kim show on Sun Radio 96.3 and on your favorite streaming platform Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 3:30. So give it a listen if you can't watch, but there's a multitude of ways to watch, so we want you to watch too. So I'm so excited because I've been wanting to have her on the show for a while, and we finally got it all together. And for a short period there, my schedule started taking more hits than a linebacker, so I was moving everybody around. And so I really want to thank her for that. But I'm so proud to introduce to you and welcome to Connecting with Kim, Patti Rendon, who is the District 4 representative on the Hillsborough County Public School System Board. Welcome, Patti.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, and look, we coordinated so
Absolutely.
well.
Osmosis.
I sent her the mental thoughts and she got them. Okay, so on Connecting with Kim, we love to let our guests share for the first, however long they want, actually, their life journey, because you never know when somebody out there shares something in common with you. And they might want to sit there and go, I'm going to listen to what Patti has to say, right? So.
Well, thank you again for having me on the show. It's an honor to be here. It's an honor to meet with you and speak with you. And it's an honor for people to get to know who I am outside in the community. I have spent a good part of my career in public service, not as an elected official, but I spent my first 30-some years in my career working with people with developmental disabilities. And so that is my number one passion, individuals that can't speak for themselves. And so once I decided to take an adjustment and a change in my career and elevate my presence within the community, children were just that next big thing. And so I continue to be an advocate for people with disabilities and now a larger commitment to people and children and our students here in Hillsborough County. I am a mother of three children. I have 3 children. 2 have graduated from college, one at the University of Florida, one at Florida State, and my 3rd daughter is graduating from Bloomingdale High School this May.
I know,
so
I'm
so excited. I'll be an empty nester, and she is heading off to Ole Miss, and we're super excited for her and her new journey.
Oh my gosh, cool.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Ole Miss. All right, great.
Yes, we're excited. It's a phenomenal town, a phenomenal area.
It is.
And,
it is.
I was hoping for a bowl, but I got another rebel, so I'm super excited. My husband and I have been married for 31 years. We've been here in Hillsborough County for about 24 years now, and so I just love the Hillsborough County community. It is the diversity, all of the culture we have here, and the opportunities we have for not only our students, but our community. And we are just super excited to live here in this community and be a part of it.
Well, we are extremely grateful that you did come to live in Hillsborough County. Now, where are you originally from, Patti? Because I don't think as long we spent a lot of time off camera together, but I don't think I actually know this part.
So I was actually born in Ohio, but I grew up in Lee County in Fort Myers, Florida.
Okay.
So I spent my entire childhood going through public school. Tanglewood Elementary, Fort Myers Middle, Fort Myers High School. I swam on the swim team, was involved in many clubs and organizations, and that's where I started my passion for people with developmental disabilities. I started volunteering for Special Olympics. My journey took me around the state for college, and I ended up at the University of South Florida, where I was one of the founding members of Best Buddies. And then I took my journey out to California for an internship and met my husband. And so from there, we moved back to Florida after a very short period of time there. And I continue working with people with developmental disabilities in all different levels. I own my own business as case management. And then I was executive director for the state of Florida under the Columbus organization. And we represented individuals all over the state of Florida with developmental disabilities and being a partner and advocate on their journey. And so moving through and becoming elected onto the school board has just been another layer to be able to advocate for those that can't advocate for themselves. And so I'm super excited. Everything I do is teacher, student, family, individual first, and that's my priorities.
Well, Patti, I remember, first of all, I just think we are extremely blessed in District 4,
Yes.
As well as Hillsborough County. I'm not going to exclude the other districts. Yes. We're going to give you a shout out too, but we love District 4. We are very blessed to have you as our representative. I remember the first time you and I got together with my mom and met, and I remember my mom and I leaving that meeting, and we were just like, yes! We were like, thumbs up. And we were very impressed with you and your background, and we were so grateful that someone with your sincerity and dedication would want to take this on. Really, I mean, seriously. And so, I don't think there's a harder working person on that. I mean this sincerely. I don't think there's a harder working person on that school board than you. I mean, you are everywhere. You're everywhere.
Thank you.
So after you were elected, what was your biggest surprise?
I think my biggest surprise was just the overall bureaucracy of the system. I have no problem standing up for students and teachers and what's right here in the district and making sure that we prioritize students at all times and our teachers. But just the level of what we've always done and getting through bit by bit, layer by layer, and really getting to the bottom line of, well, why don't we try something new? Or why don't we do that? The degree and level of knowledge that comes into a district our size, it was just overwhelming. We have 242 schools. We have over 23,000 employees. 15,000 or more are teachers, plus our administrators and our layers. And so it is just such a vast amount of knowledge to gain in such a short period of time where you're making decisions that affect the day-to-day lives of a student. And I take that very seriously. They are the future of this county, of this nation. And we have our due diligence to make sure we give them every possible opportunity. And so that was my biggest surprise, just the sheer vast knowledge of what we don't know.
I can understand why that would be your biggest surprise, because after all, your budget for this school, well, they're seventh largest in the nation, right?
Yes.
People may not understand that, but it's really true. Seventh largest in the nation, and your budget is over $4 billion, right?
$4.6 billion. I just met with the CFO yesterday, on top of which we have over 187,000 traditional students and a total of 230,000 students receiving public education here in Hillsborough County alone. We're the third largest behind Broward and Miami-Dade, and we're the seventh largest in the country.
Yeah.
So, yes, the vast...
That's mind-blowing.
It is mind-blowing. And the programs, we have so many programs for our students. It's just wonderful.
So after you had your biggest surprise, okay, and I can certainly understand why that was.
Yeah.
What was the most, so let's look back and say, because you've been there, almost 2.5 years now,
Yes.
right? What was the most pleasant surprise that you had? What did you uncover when you went in and thought, oh my gosh, that's amazing?
I'm going to go back to what we offer to students. That is what my biggest takeaway, that over in East County, we deal with a very different issue than some of the other counties because we are so fast growing that our schools, we have so many students in our schools. And so many times I don't realize the programs that are throughout the entire county are not over there yet because we just don't have the room for them yet. And so we're trying to solve that problem, but we have so many programs within our whole county. We have electrical, we have plumbing, we have welding, we have cosmetology, we have vet tech. Over at Tampa Bay Tech, we have speech therapy assistants, we have medical assistants, we have nursing assistants, so many programs. Over at Jefferson, we have the Marine Science Academy. There are just so many opportunities for our students throughout the entire county. We even have our medical academies that start at elementary school, that move to middle school, and then again through our high school, that we give our students the opportunity to really get ingrown and engaged in that opportunity, and they can grow with it throughout their 4 years, their 3 different levels of schools. And so that is such a wonderful gift that we give and have an opportunity for all of our students to partake in.
So I want to key off what you're just talking about,
Great.
because I recently I'm in Leadership Rendon this year from the Greater Brandon Chamber of
Yes.
Commerce. It's been wonderful. We just had our Education Day, and we started at Kingswood Elementary on Kings Avenue, and then we spent the afternoon at Hillsborough County Community College Brandon campus. But anyway, let me go back to Kingswood. So this was really an eye-opening day for me to learn about all of these things you're talking about, and there were many, many people from the school system there, and I said to them, y'all need to do a lot more social media, because I swear I was sitting there thinking to myself, well, I didn't know that. Well, I wouldn't say it out loud, but in my head I was saying, well, I didn't know that. Well, I didn't know that. Well, I didn't know that. Because we have all of these, trades right now. We have schools for, my watchword today, contributing productive members of society.
Correct.
And so I'm sitting there, and I told those guys, I said, y'all need some different communications going on, because I didn't know this, and I've been in Hillsborough County since 2005.
I've always said this. I talk to them about it all the time. We have a phenomenal product in Hillsborough County schools, and so we need to market ourselves. We need to think like a business and market ourselves. We do magnet days where we have magnet fairs and people can come in and see all of our different magnet schools, but it's so much more than that. So many more opportunities within our schools that people have no idea about.
No idea.
And so many things. And our individual teachers bring in so many opportunities. They get individual grants to work with Microsoft or to do work with robotics, or we've got things that we do congressional app challenges through both Congresswoman Lee and with Congresswoman Castor. They all perform so many different things. Tomorrow I'm sitting on a congressional educational panel for the Congressional Educator of the Year Awards. And so there are so many things we're doing within our schools that we really do need to market it more, and we really need to do it. And so we try, but it's something we continue to need to work at. And I agree with you that is something we need to work at through Hillsborough County.
Well, I'm thinking, if I don't know about it, and you know how engaged I am in the community, I'm thinking, if I don't know about it, my goodness, I'm sure there are parents that don't know about it, because they're busy working and they come home and they've got all these things to do, and they don't. I said, y'all need to be doing a Facebook post every single day and an Instagram highlighting something about the school system. Exactly. So if you're just joining me now on Connecting with Kim, my guest in the chair is the phenomenal Patti Rendon, who is the District 4 elected to the Hillsborough County School Board. So she happens to be my representative. So we covered what was the big surprise, what was a pleasant surprise. So what causes you, and I know this is a loaded question, but you're brave. I know you can take it on. What causes you the biggest frustration, or you feel like is the biggest challenge?
I'd have to say 2 things. One is I have to say that people have a slight bit of information and think they know the whole story. And so sometimes they don't allow me to take the time to have a full conversation. I know that there are possible times where there's disagreements, but I really want to have an open conversation so they understand where I come from and why the vote is the vote that I make. Many times my vote is always with students and teachers and families first. I'm 100% behind the fact that 99.9% of the children that we work with in Hillsborough County are minors. And so ultimately families come first, and they have to make the decisions for their children first. And so I always want to make sure that they're at the table with their children and the decisions for their education. I think that's number 1. And number 2, the slow process. When we want to make a change and we know it's a good change, why does it take so long to do that? And again, many of the things that we deal with within a school system are a year away. The decision we make today may not be impacted till next year. Or if we're making a decision today, it won't be for the school year starts in August, but it'll be August of 26th. And I think those are my 2 biggest frustrations, that we just can't move fast enough.
Do you think that's because the school system is so so large, or what do you think the main reason is?
I think it's a combination of both. I think we have to budget out, and so that's number one. And then number two, we're also relying on funding that occurs right now. The legislature just went into session on Tuesday.
Right.
And so for the next 9 weeks, they're going to be discussing and providing us what our allocation will be. And that allocation is just for August. And so to really make a decision for what's going to happen early, we kind of have to wait for that final numbers to make final decisions. And so we can't make it all happen within a 2-month period. We've got to be hiring. We've got to be planning. We've got to put those programs in place. Students have selections of what classes they're going to take for August in February and March, sometimes November. And then we need the funding to go along with it. So we really can't go that far. Any new things we do have to hit next year. And so that's kind of frustrating for that. So it's a combination of budget, laws that change, timing of being able to have the whole logistics of everything that go on.
One thing that happened to me that day that I spent on the education day, I was so grateful. I was like, this is a good use of my time.
Oh, yeah.
And because when you give up a full day to something, you want the ROI, right? And one thing that just intrigued me and made me, well, that's a phenomenal principal, Ed.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yes,
But
we've got great leadership in our
Oh,
district.
my gosh, she's amazing. But the other thing that I was really impressed by was how many of the teachers and staff and administrators, how long they had been there.
Yes.
And the fact that their children were going
Yes,
there.
absolutely.
And some of them were traveling great distances to teach there.
Yes.
And also just the campus itself. Until
Yes.
you walk through that door, you don't realize how large that campus is, and also don't realize the round shape of it, which I absolutely loved. I thought that
it
was
became a small space.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It was a large space from the outside, but it became a small space and intimate
Yes.
very quickly. And as we walked around and visited classrooms, the kids were just so excited and so
Yes.
friendly, and it was heartwarming for me. I'm really glad I spent that time there. I mean, it was valuable.
Listen, our biggest asset in our district is our staff. Our teachers, our support staffs, our office staffs, and our administration at each one of our schools. Our schools are the heart of our district. And you're right, many of them will travel across the county just to work with that principal, or just to work with that collaboration
And bring
of
their
other
kids with them,
teachers.
right?
And absolutely, I would put my kids, any one of our high schools and almost all of our elementary and middle schools. My children went to public school here in Hillsborough County, and they are thriving today. And
I went to public school.
Exactly. And Hillsborough County has got a great opportunity for our students. And I invite all of our parents to get engaged in our schools. Be a partner with us. Come and volunteer in our schools. You are one of our assets, and we want you to feel a part of our family. And so I encourage them to come there. But yes, our biggest assets are our teachers, our support staff, our office staff, our extracurricular activities that come into our schools. They are such the heart and soul. And then, of course, our school administrators. They are what make Hillsborough strong.
Well, I had the opportunity, thanks to my friend Deborah Belanti, to attend This Ought to Be a Law. I'm sure I'm mangling the
Nope.
At Blake.
Yes.
So anyway, that was so incredible. I mean,
amazing.
I sat there in the audience and listened. I know you were up on stage because you were like a VIP, but I sat there in the auditorium and I'm listening to these high school students make these incredible presentations on well thought out, planned out. In some cases, they're already doing it, and they're coming forward and to these lawmakers who are in the audience and up on the stage with you and saying, "Yeah, this ought to be for everybody, right?" That was fun. I'm telling you right now, Deborah, I want to come this year too. It was phenomenal. I had no idea that even existed until Deborah invited me.
So it started off quite a ways ago, but Susan Valdez, Representative Valdez, has continued that trek and making sure that's a priority every single year. And we have encouraged our student governments in all of our high schools, our AP history or our AP government, any of those classes, our law studies classes, we encourage them all to come together with their students to create a bill that those students come then to Ought to Be a Law and present it to some of our members of our delegation and our school board members. And it was where we voted on one bill that one of our representatives would commit to having that as part of their platform when they go up to Tallahassee and represent us. But this year, all 7 bills were picked up by our delegation.
I know it.
And it's wonderful because they recognize that the students were identifying things within our community that were important to our students, to our schools, but to our community. Bloomingdale High School had a recycling bill. Jefferson High School identified where they believed we were missing the boat on developing a new core curriculum for if you take out a loan. What does it mean for FICA? What does it mean for all these different things on our payrolls? What does it mean what is my savings, and what does it mean if I have certain interest rates, or I go to a bond, or I do a 6-month IRA? What do those things mean to a student? They are not taught that,
No.
and they believe that those were things, everyday life things. What is the difference if I go buy a car at 5 years and 5%, or I buy one at 3 years
Or I
and a
lease
different
it.
percent, or I lease it? What are my pros and cons to that? What do warranties mean, and how do I need to look at be the fine print? And so they said we need more. We need more. We believe these should be graduation requirements.
Absolutely
so
should be.
that was another one. I'm
Life
super
skills.
excited.
Those are life skills. And how
Yeah.
can you be a contributing,
Correct.
productive member of society if you don't have any life skills?
So they wanted more of that. Sumner High School bought a phenomenal bill that talked about if a child is a member of a family in the military, active duty military, and they have to move from out of state in the middle of their high school years, and they've taken a class that as a state we require an EOC, an end of course exam, to pass to graduate. Those students should not be penalized because they took that before they entered Hillsborough County or anywhere in the state of Florida. And so these are exciting things that our students are recognizing. And so our legislators recognize that they had a voice. And all of those bills are going to be presented in committee and then moved on from there. And so we're super excited and so super thankful for our legislative and our delegation that came and supported our students and then went to their schools after and met with them as those bills were written and as those bills have been prepared. And they're keeping in contact with them and have invited them to Tallahassee when those bills go before committee because they want those students' voices to be heard by all the legislators here in the state of Florida. So we're super excited.
They're future taxpayers.
They are.
They're future. So for me, it was very heartwarming. Now, we are running out of time, so I want to talk about an exciting thing we have happening in South County because, the brand new high school that's opening up.
Yes, so we have a brand new high school that's going to be opening August 11th, 2025. It is Aquila J. Morgan High School, and I am super excited. Their family has been an integral part. She was the very first African-American teacher at Waimama High School, and it evolved into Waimama Elementary and so many other schools, but she stuck it out for so many years and not only dedicated herself inside the classroom, but brought students into her home that couldn't go to school that day for whatever reason, whether it was an agricultural reason or a personal family emergency. And so she made sure those kids had an education. And so we're super excited that that school is going to be named after her. It is also the first school named after a teacher. And I think that's
hard to believe it.
That is wonderful.
That is hard to believe.
It just shows where our district is right now.
Yeah.
We are prioritizing those people that are directly affecting our students. And we know they're a priority for the future. And so that school is going to open in August 11th, 2025. We've already named a principal, Brittany Wilhelm. And we're super excited that we're going to open that school with capacity 3,500 students. We're going to offer not only our traditional classes, but we're going to offer electric car and general car maintenance. We're going to offer cosmetology, when this is one way in which our community and our students said this is what we want in that school, and we're offering it. We're going to offer coding and gaming, where students can learn more technology-based skills. And so we're just super excited to build on that. Culinary programs where students will be able to come out and work at any of the top kitchens and restaurants around our community. And so we're super excited about that. Also, we're going to have a special area for our ESC community. We have specialized bathrooms and opportunities for them to have privacy and some of their therapies during the day. And then they're integrated within our school all around. So we are just super excited to open that new school.
Well, I have to take one little small credit for this because her granddaughter came to TNC, Tea and Conversation, and she made a small presentation to that group that day. And I got together with her afterwards. And I said, girlfriend, this is what... You've got a great story here to tell, but you got to condense it down into a flyer, right? And we talked about how to design that and how to do that, and several other people pitched in. And And I am proud to say that she took all of our advice to heart.
She did.
And she launched that campaign, and boom. I mean, in the end, it was successful.
Yes.
And she came back to Tea and Conversation this month
heard,
when I was
yes.
there and thanked us all because we helped her so much.
Yes, and I'm super excited that she does that. And Tea and Conversation is such an advocate here in our community to bring voices to the community for people that need those voices to be heard. And so I'm very thankful for what they do and the opportunities they give. Why Mama is a phenomenal, it's growing. It's growing, and in the next 2 years, we're going to be opening a middle school right in front of our high school, and then in a couple of years after that, will be an elementary school. The complete grounds is 100 acres.
Wow.
50% of that is going to be our high school. Our gym sits 3,200 students or community members. Don't forget, we are a school within a community. These schools are open up to our community and other things. We're already starting to look at partnerships with other community groups, and we want to, this is a part of the community. We're opening up a new technical high school out in Plant City, which we are super, super excited about, giving more job opportunities right there, very close to Highway US 92, which is a huge corridor between Polk County and Hillsborough County.
Right.
Opportunities, our businesses are opening up all along there. And then we're looking at 3 new schools out in the Plant City area. So we got 7 new schools on the docket for the next 5 to 7 years because our growth in East and South County is just booming. And we're excited about the students that are coming into Hillsborough County.
Well, I got to tell you, Patti, I'm excited that you joined us today on
Yes.
Connecting with Kim. I've been wanting to do this for a while. You're going to have to come back because
Thank you
we
so much.
can't cover it all.
I know there's so much going on.
I'm really proud of you. And thank you for joining me today on the show.
Thank you for having me.
So if you're just joining us now, my guest today on Connecting with Kim was Patti Rendon, who is the District 4 elected school board representative for Hillsborough County Public Schools. And you need to go back and watch this interview and listen to it because a lot of great information came your way today that I know you don't know about. So that's all we have time for. Please patronize the Spring of Tampa Bay, my sponsor for my on-air wardrobe, because their mission of supporting safe spaces and empowering services for survivors of domestic violence is so very important, and their children, because children are our future. It doesn't matter where you live in Hillsborough County, they're our future. So thank you. Come back next week.